the suspension and now firing of Mel Tucker, who was served notice by Michigan State Athletic Director Alan Haller just a day ago that he intends to fire Mel Tucker for cause, for embarrassing the university, and then Mel Tucker's response. Gentlemen, let's get into that right now, and feel free to send us questions, and we'll talk with you as well while you're in the chat. Chew?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations. It's an unfortunate situation. We talked about it the whole time there, and some processes and stuff had to be in place there, but it's just something that, the school and Allen feel they had to do. And obviously Coach Tucker, he's going to fight back, at this thing, because there's a lot of money that's on the line here, for him and also for the school. If it's not for a cause, they're going to have to pay him, money. But that's why there's that going to be that argument. Is it for cause? Did he break, the moral turpitude clause that's placed within the contract there? So it's going to be a long process that's going to be drawn out. Two things can happen. One, they can just, go behind closed doors and settle this thing and both parties move on, or they can drag this thing out and it can become a messy situation played out in the media.
Very true. And I know this is Otis. This is his favorite subject matter right here. We've dealt with a lot of controversy at Michigan State, obviously, just in the last year. And this is yet another situation that we are forced to deal with. Not something fun, right, Otis, that we have to talk about. But I think we owe it to the listeners that you must cover it. This is something that is, on everyone's hearts and minds.
Yeah, I mean, flashback quickly to Big Ten Media Day, and just the vibe, the tone, we were getting this thing back going, and how quickly this thing has fallen. And I think it's more so personal. It's more personal for us, obviously, because we live it, we breathe it, we bleed the green and white. It's our program. It's like we want our program to be storied. They want to be consistent. You always, I hate when people, not hate, I dislike it when, everybody's waiting on, can't wait to basketball season. And it's that element of man, it's kind of just embarrassment. It's an element of the news, the way it's happened. We should obviously be in this predicament or this situation, but you gotta move forward quickly. There's no waiting until October. You got to make changes now, because now once this happens, it's like the clock starts where everybody that's out there looking for the head coaching job, or, that's next in line, or would like to come in and turn this around, everybody's ears perks up, right? This, you got to do it now, rather than later and just ride this all the way out, where it gets even worse. But it's unfortunate, man. I think the kids itself, me and Chu went through that firing with John L. Smith.
So did I. I went through one.
Yeah, and you did too. And honestly, man, I told somebody this earlier today, I don't remember having this much support in the situation with this transition. The kids, how are they doing? The coaching staff, we didn't have all these resources that were available to us. It was so quick that it was all right, we're in limbo now, waiting on who the next person is to take over the program. So I think we're in a better place when it comes to supporting the kids and the student athletes and the coaches that are there. But yeah, it was a tough thing, because these kids were ready to get this thing going and battling for, accomplishing their goals that they've been preparing for the summer. Clearly, they were not prepared for, obviously, what is transpiring right now. And so it's, how do we overcome? How do we get to the next, obviously, to Maryland, to Saturday, to putting a product out there that's competitive through the midst of the noise and distractions? How can we put this to bed and then start competing and getting ready for, obviously, Maryland coming into town?
Yeah, Otis, I'm going to jump back in there with, it's like you said, we live it. We're in the thick of it. We come on every Tuesday and Thursday, and we do this show here. We go every Saturday. We're at Spartan Stadium, or if the Spartans are on the road, we're on the road, covering Michigan State. So, wherever we go, people are looking to us and saying, hey, what's going on at Michigan State? What's going on at Michigan State? All right. And I'll be 100% honest. It's not fair. It is not fair to us to have to answer questions for something someone else did or what the school side of things are, because we're not in those meetings. And you know what? It's sure as hell not fair for those student athletes, to bear the brunt of this here. It's not fair for the alumni base that's out there, and having that slight cloud over them every time they wear the green and white and they go out in public, people asking them these questions and everything. What is fair? It's fair for us to come together as Spartans. It's fair, like the very beginning of the game last year, last week, when that stadium was electric. Everyone came together. That walk from the Kellogg to Spartan Stadium, everyone was together. That's what's needed now. It is not fair for the alumni base. It is not fair for us as people covering this team. It is not fair for those players, especially because these are kids. And people say kids are resilient. Bullshit. These kids, they have emotions as well. They're going to have to figure it out somehow. They're going to carry this with them as well. We can't hide behind kids are resilient, all the time. These kids need us as grown-ass adults to be there for them and support them, because whatever the case is, and I'll be 100% clear, Coach Tucker should not have put himself in that position. It's that simple. He shouldn't have. I don't know what happened behind it and everything like that, but it's not fair for these kids. What are your thoughts on it, Stray?
No, I think that was very well said. And I mean, it is an emotional subject matter, for all of us. Everybody that's watching, everybody who's listening, it's a very emotional subject matter. And it's, we talk to players. Like, let's just keep it real. I mean, we talk to players. There was a players-only meeting before the decision was made to elevate Harlan Barnett to be the interim head coach. There was another meeting had just before the news broke that Alan Haller and the Michigan State administration was going to send notice to head coach Mel Tucker that they were going to fire him for cause. And, those players are hurting. They clearly are. They had another meeting for former players. It was a Zoom that we were all on last night. No one really knows what to do with this. There is no blueprint. There is no manual that says, okay, if your coach does something unethical in week 2 of a 12-week season, this is how you have to handle it. And this is, look, I lost a coach in my freshman year, in George Perlis, and this was in week 10 of an 11-game season. And that was hard for me. I can remember that vividly. Didn't know what was going to happen next. Didn't care who the next guy was. And whoever the next guy coming in is going to be a complete opposite of the guy that you chose to play for. And we didn't have a decision. I didn't have a decision to make, because if I decided to leave Michigan State at that time, then I had to sit out a year. I hadn't played a down. No, where are you going to go? It's different. You guys went through it with John L. Smith losing his job in the middle of the season. So it was a little earlier. You knew it, but he did finish, if I'm not mistaken, that season. And then you come in with a completely different mindset and a new coaching staff, which so happened to be Mark D'Antonio. Mine would also happen to be Nick Saban. So going through that shift and everything, you guys had to stay the course. You did not have the transfer portal, as I didn't have the transfer portal. So I look at where we are today. It's the same characters, similar story, but different rules now. Completely different rules. And when you look at this and you try to strip away the emotions, you try, and it's not easy because this is still so new for us all.